Well, we know retirement is a marathon. It is not a sprint, but that path to get there can have its twists and turns. And that is why every week here on KMJN, we consult our resident financial advisor, Sean Mason, president of Mason Street Retirement Insights right here in Fresno. Sean, how you doing? I'm loving our Saturday routine.
I'm doing so good. It's so good to be with you, Casey, and to our listeners. I'm so happy you're tuning in today. We've got a lot of must-know information to talk about, so stay with us.
Yes, we sure do. We've got a lot of great stuff to dig into on today's show. Why Warren Buffett is moving billions into cash, some practical strategies for managing your taxes all year long, and we're going to talk about those pesky fees that can eat away at your portfolio. But before we do that, if you have ever felt unsure about where your retirement stands, today's the perfect time to take some action. Sean and his team are ready to help guide you with a complimentary, no strings attached introductory retirement planning assessment. We are opening our phone lines right now for our listeners. 559-847-0039 is the number to reach us. And if you are one of the first 5 callers, you will secure your spot on Sean's calendar. Again, that number is 559-847-0039. Go ahead, write it down. 559-847-0039. Or, of course, you can always find us online if that works better for you. We are at MasonStreetRetirementInsights.com. All right, Sean, let's get into the good stuff. Warren Buffett is a multi-billionaire. So what he is doing with his own money may not apply to many of us, but as a part of Berkshire Hathaway, Warren has been decreasing his risk in stocks and now holds over $344 billion in cash and equivalents. So talk to us about this, Sean. If Warren Buffett is de-risking his portfolio, should we be doing the same?
The legendary Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha. What an extraordinary life. We all know him for his investment brilliance, but he's made such a difference through the philanthropic efforts. And most notable for me is his willingness to give his knowledge. He's been a mentor to so many of us in the investment community. And for sure, when his investment company, Berkshire Hathaway, takes an investment position, especially to this degree, we have to take note. But we also have to know the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey used to say. Wow, I'm dating us, Casey. Paul Harvey was probably way before your time.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, but I have to guess that our listeners remember Paul. Anyway, Berkshire Hathaway, it's a $1 trillion company. Its stock portfolio alone is worth almost $300 billion. As Buffett has commented on many times, to invest a few $1 billion in a stock doesn't really move the financial needle for this company. They have fewer opportunities to make a significant difference in comparison to what might be a smaller retail investment company who's moving a few $100 million. So it's important to consider that Charlie Mung was Warren's business partner who recently passed, but their investment philosophy for Berkshire specifically was not diversification, which would highly recommend it for an individual family's portfolio. So using Berkshire's cash position to determine the risk of an individual's portfolio is probably not the best strategy.
Well, I think it's always interesting to see what the world's most famous investors are doing. So when somebody like Warren Buffett shifts a big chunk of his portfolio into cash, it really makes you wonder, what does he see that maybe we don't? So, Sean, let me ask you this. With this move towards cash, what kind of economic signals do you think Warren might be picking up on? And how should everyday folks like us interpret those signals for our own retirement strategies?
Yeah, wouldn't we all like to know? But, we certainly need to understand the current economic and financial market environment. For example, the CAPE ratio. It's a metric typically used to gauge whether the market is overvalued or undervalued. And it's currently indicating that the market, specifically the S&P 500, is highly overvalued. And that's important information. Historically, the S&P 500 often underperforms after periods of overvaluation. But there are caveats to that, especially during times of high technology innovation or significant monetary policy change. And we're experiencing both of those right now. No one has the crystal ball. Timing is near impossible to call. We have to prioritize an individual's or a family's risk tolerance and the criteria that goes into that determination. And that's why it's so important to have that comprehensive financial retirement plan. It's essential in determining the pragmatic risk that should be taken in a portfolio. And that'll help people work through the emotions part of risk tolerance. what will bring peace of mind and stressless retirement. So I want to extend an invitation to you, our listeners, for our first 5 callers. So you want to do this right now, because for our first 5 callers, we're going to provide you with our own individual financial planning assessment, taxes, that risk tolerance we've been discussing, income planning, those elements you have to be considering for retirement. And we're going to do this with no charge. It's that important. So give our team a call, 559-847-0039, and schedule your own individual financial planning assessment. Again, that number is 559-847-0039.
Yes, you do not want to miss out on this opportunity that Sean is offering today. No commitment, no obligation, but spots will fill up. So go ahead, dial 559-847-0039, and we will find a spot on the calendar for you to sit down with Sean and get those answers that you've been looking for. That number for you again is 559-847-0039. Or, of course, you can connect with us online anytime. We are at Mason Street Retirement Insights.com. You are listening to Mason Street Retirement Insights on KMJN. I am Casey here with financial advisor Sean Mason, and we have got to talk a little taxes. So I want to ask our listeners, how do you plan for taxes? Are you of the April 15th frame of mind, or does it go beyond that? Well, here is wealth manager Jeffrey Levine on the Decoding Retirement podcast recently. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Another common mistake I see individuals make is focusing too much on their annual taxes and their annual tax bill, and not enough on what I call their lifetime tax bill. You know, when it comes to good tax planning, it's not about giving anybody the lowest tax bill in any one year. It's looking at their lifetime and trying to figure out how to pay taxes over that extended period of time, such that the total of those taxes over your life is as low as possible.
So, Sean, I wanted to ask you about this. Does this match your view of tax bracket management? Can you give us an example?
Yeah, and he's right. I've been coaching families for years to shift their perspective of taxes. It's a big ask, but it can make a huge difference. I'll ask them, do you care more about the taxes you pay this year or the taxes you pay over your lifetime? And after a few seconds of thought, the answer is always, of course, over a lifetime. Mm-hmm. Most of us are hoping that our retirement experience will be the lifestyle we dreamed of and worked so hard for all those years. The spendable income is what fuels that lifestyle and drives quality of life. Yeah. And taxes are the biggest erosion factor of that spendable income. Taxes are a big deal in retirement planning. Casey, you mentioned tax bracket management. It's critical to be hyper-focused on tax brackets with strategy that addresses all years throughout our life and into our future generations' lives. When I talk about diversification, most people think investments, but it's important to consider tax diversification. Positioning money in different tax type accounts is key to controlling our tax brackets in retirement. In most cases, it's okay to have some money in a tax deferred account like an IRA or a 401k, but we also might want to move some of that money into a Roth account so we can take advantage of tax-free growth and tax-free withdrawals. And then that after-tax account, that regular money we've already paid taxes on, can allow us to take advantage of the long-term capital gains brackets, which are lower than ordinary brackets. Raul and Linda came into my office for a financial planning assessment. They've done a great job in saving over the years, accumulating over $400,000 in their after-tax money market account at the bank, and they're able to grow their 401k contributions to over $1.2 million. The interest they were earning from the money market account was unnecessarily increasing their taxable income, and that high 401k balance was a ticking time bomb ready to explode. We decided to design a comprehensive retirement plan to test how much of that 401k should be moved to a Roth account. We also designed a tax-friendly stock portfolio, eliminating the ordinary tax on the interest from the money market account. They now have a projected lifetime tax savings of $490,000, and taxes on what is projected to be left over for the kids are reduced by $227,000. Leaving too much of our savings in a tax-deferred retirement account, like a 401k, an IRA, it can cause unnecessary taxation through our lifetime, and a financial legacy or inheritance can actually become a tax burden on our kids or beneficiaries.
Those are incredible savings, Sean. You know, sometimes we think that we've got all of our tax bases covered. If we're filing on time, we're keeping good records, we're thinking that we're set. But the real surprises can sneak up when we are not paying attention to how our income gets taxed year after year. So I want to see if you've seen this, Sean. Have you ever heard of somebody who suddenly owed way more than they expected because they did not pay attention to their tax bracket? Can you talk to us about how missing those details can turn into a real eye-opener for somebody who's retiring?
Yeah, and there are many of those situations. In fact, one of our clients recently came into the office with his parents' tax returns. He was having some concerns. This one in particular exposes the implications of RMDs, or required minimum distributions. And just to set the table, when you decided to contribute to your 401k, you agreed to take on a partner, the government. Because through the years, instead of paying the taxes on that income you contributed to that 401k, you chose to defer those taxes. And now your partner wants their money. When you turn a certain age, they're going to force you to start withdrawing from that account every year so that you have to pay the taxes on it, whether you need the money or not. So Jim showed me his parents' tax returns, pointing out that a few years ago, their taxes increased substantially, and he couldn't figure out why. We found RMDs to be the culprit, those required minimum distributions. I explained to Jim the RMD chain reaction and the effect it has on the tax bill. So the effect it has when you start being forced to take those distributions, first, that RMD itself causes an increase in taxable income and pushes us up into a higher tax bracket. And then second, that increase in income caused more of Jim's dad's Social Security to be taxed. Then third, the increase in income caused the loss of some deductions by reaching certain income thresholds. The more money that you earned, the more money that you make, the more money that you show on your tax return will start to eliminate deductions that you used to be able to take advantage of. Fourth, the increase in income caused the Medicare premiums to increase significantly. That's called IRMA. And then fifth, if one of his parents passed early, they will experience what's called the widow's tax because they'll have to file an individual tax return instead of a married filing joint, and that's going to cause a huge tax increase. RMDs have cost his parents tens of thousands of dollars over the past few years.
Goodness. Yeah, we've seen it time and time again where a retiree has got that income coming in from multiple sources and then it's adding up to a tax bill that they did not expect. But these are the kinds of things that Sean is helping his clients with in his office every single day. So if you're worried about how your retirement income will affect your tax situation, Sean and the team are here to help you. 559-847-0039 is the number to dial and they will get you on the calendar. Or of course, you can always visit our website. We are at Mason Street Retirement Insights.com, and you can get connected with us that way. Sean, I know you've got a class coming up soon that you're teaching called Retirement Planning Today. Can you tell me about it?
Yeah, it's an awesome class. We've been teaching this over at Fresno State, 12 years now. Teach it a couple times a year, usually in the spring and the fall. And the fall courses are coming up right now. It's really comprehensive. We go into everything from Social Security to investing to estate planning. Comes with workbooks. Workbooks are extremely comprehensive. You know, it's just a great class.
And you got 2 date options that people can choose from starting on September 25th, and then you take your second class October 2nd. Or if you want to do Tuesdays, you can start on September 30th and take your second class October 7th. This is 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. at Fresno State University at the University Business Center. So, Sean, if people want to get signed up, how can they do that? What should they do?
Yeah, go to the website at masonstreetretirementinsights.com or give us a call at 559-847-0039 and we'll get you all set up.
Yeah, don't miss out on this opportunity to take one of Sean's classes. I promise you will not regret it. Give us a call. We will get you signed up if that's the easiest way for you. 559-847-0039. That is going to do it for us this week here on Mason Street Retirement Insights. As always, thank you so much for joining us, and we will be back next week, same time, same place, with more great insight from Sean Mason, president of Mason Street Wealth Management. Take care.
Mason Street Wealth Management, MSWM, is a registered investment advisor, and the opinions expressed by MSWM on this show are their own and do not reflect the opinions of Motivate Investments. Registration is not an endorsement by securities regulators. Investment advisory services are offered through Motivate Investments, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. All statements and opinions expressed are based upon information considered reliable, although it should not be relied upon as such. Any statements or opinions are subject to change without notice. The information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Information expressed does not take into account your specific situation or objectives and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for any individual. Listeners are encouraged to seek advice from a qualified tax, legal, or investment advisor to determine whether any information presented may be suitable for their specific situation. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities. Offered through Sean A. Mason, California, insurance license number 0B54860. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Motivate Investments. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. MSWM is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if MSWM is licensed in your state, please call 559-892-0002.